right, now we're okay. And hopefully this is recording. I think it is too. All right, so quickly recap. We're going to do 3 kinds of schedule. We're going to schedule the class, hopefully just once, but maybe twice, and that will be done via a doodle poll you will all get sometime this week. There will be a, boy, this bandwidth sucks. There will be a laboratory usage schedule, which we will do via a separate doodle poll. Also, you will get sometime this week. Your leadership team, which is currently consisting of the 5 continuing students, but which is more or less open for grabs. We don't want too much alpha being conflict, but if you feel like leading the team is your forte, I'm sure that Arian et al. Can use help. And by the end of it, you'll be in charge, because these kids are going to commit something that, I'm sorry for swearing, they're going to graduate.
Yeah. Good God.
My microphone is muted. How did that happen? Okay. Well, let me recapitulate for the recording. We're going to do three elements of schedule. We're going to try and figure out when people can meet for classes. We want to minimize that. I'm fairly sure that unless we meet, at 3 a.m. by the South Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge, we will not. What novel was that from? We will not actually successfully have a class at the same time. I don't want that to go over 2. So we need to find 2 times, and you guys need to be willing to be flexible. Apply, drop, and add creatively to make that happen. We do expect that kind of priority. And maybe we'll try and schedule. You can try and schedule this one because it really, we know there are only two choices. Oh, let's talk about the time allocation in a little bit. The second thing is we're going to be allocating lab time more, not so much to establish your attendance, but we want to establish that, but to avoid conflict. Thirdly, your leadership pro team is going to want to have a student-only, I show up by invitation, although it's sometimes hard for me not to be there because you usually have it in my office, team meeting each week. I think we actually will try and accomplish the team meeting part now. The fourth item of schedule is your pro team wants to schedule a team building event that involves carbon-based organisms that have been thermally degraded for nutritional value. I think they're called pizza. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. So we're going to try and have a pizza party in January, to say it in ordinary terms. My travel schedule, for what it's worth, I will be leaving on the 12th, along with several of these of your senior team, to give papers about this project in San Francisco. Dr. Talbot will be there as well. It's really kind of strange. Sunday evening in the BART station, you have several thousand people carrying poster tubes. It's known as the annual migration of the tube people. One time somebody asked me what was going on, some civilian from outside the group, and I said, well, it's the annual migration of the tube people. We come in peace for science and beer. Maybe you better hide the women and children. At this point, she looked around the platform of the BART station and edged away. I can't say that anymore. There's enough women geophysicists that just hiding the children is about all you can do. Okay. I will be back, and then I go to another conference the first week of January. So I'll be back around the 11th. And I'll be in and out all through January but we will have class. I think I'm going to turn it over to you. Let me ask. To organize your team meeting. I mean, you only have two choices. You know what they are. Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. You just have to take a poll. We'll do our best. Total hours, that was what I was going to talk about. Total hours. This course, this project, is going to take all of you. I want to emphasize that, first off, one of the things that can be very destructive both to individuals and to teams is spectating, where you have 2 or 3 people who never actually touch the hardware. They just stand there and watch one guy work. I'm sure you've all been on high school projects that were like that. It's actually hard to avoid. This is not a good thing in this project. I would like, if you're that kind of person, please respect your teammates and let them do stuff, even if they do it badly and break things. That's very hard. Trust me, I know. I'm the kind of guy who Let me do it. For me as a faculty member, standing there watching when I'm itching to solder it for you is hard. And eventually I will, but my threshold is going up. It's about my threshold occurs about the point you actually break a soldering iron, and these guys actually didn't break one at any point. But total time, Rachel, I think, said it best one point. She said, this, and this was sort of a look of total astonishment on her face. She said to the entire assembled team, you know, guys, I've realized this is really a 20-hour-a-week program, isn't it? And one of the assembled teammates looked back at her and said, really? It's more than that for me. So if you're asking, well, what can I get away with? What's my minimum commitment? You're asking the wrong question. I will define the minimum commitment. It's officially, we're asking you to register for a 3-credit-hour course, and there are several numbers depending on your major, but they're all going to meet together. At least I hope they are. Some of my engineering colleagues may think otherwise, but we will try and have them meet together because we want, and we may go back and forth, you know. Dr. Marpong will give a lecture to the engineering, and I will give a lecture on science, and then we'll switch. But 3 credit hours translates roughly into 15 hours of work. Now, normally that would be 3 hours of lecture and 12 hours of homework. If we actually ran this as a pure lab course, which is what I tried to do at first last time, that would be 9 hours in the lab and 5 hours of homework. And my meetings and talks by, you know, chalk talks by me were part of homework. It was the stuff in the lab that really mattered. At the end of the day, at the end of the semester, at the end of the project, what we really want to see from you is concrete work product. Standing there, attending class, taking notes, listening attentively, doing everything that's assigned in the team meetings, which are mostly kind of minimal procedural stuff, but never actually touching a piece of hardware, you don't actually get a good grade. You got to build it. So you really need to be looking to produce concrete, specific work product in the form of hardware design, hardware fabrication, code. If you're our blogger or our publicist or the team artist, there's hard work product there. And I hope one of you does come forward to be the team artist. Unfortunately, we didn't get any art majors signing up, which is too bad. NASA actually wanted us to. The person who, I wish she'd stuck it out last time, was the psychology major who was going to psychoanalyze all the rest of her teammates. I would have loved to have seen that work product. I now know what it would have said, but so the total expectation is something in the order of 15 hours total. How you allocate it is up to you. Your predecessors rapidly came to the conclusion that if you really wanted to succeed, that was insufficient. Under the rules, I can't tell you that. I didn't say what I just said. Now that some of them are actually here, let me introduce the rest of our Leadership Pro team. Chris and Megan are in the back. The huh? Okay. I will not ask them to step forward for that they're uncomfortable if I do that. So why don't you take over? I've said pretty much everything I'm going to say for now until we actually have those doodle polls out there. Except I will address questions. I won't even entertain questions. Do your questions like Sherry? Nobody gets those jokes. Do your questions like pizza? Never mind. Are there any questions? Yes. Okay. Answer number one. I am extremely deaf, and right now I'm wearing backup hearing aids because mine broke. That's a, I don't know, your team hasn't defined it. That's a student leadership decision, and they haven't told me that. It will not be the first week of winter break because we're all going to be in San Francisco. Any other questions? Yes.
You said that we're going to be deciding time for questions and math and whatnot.
We're going to do that on the web via Doodle.
All right, but the class we already signed up for is going to fit those times as well. Like,
No, those times are placeholders for what we're actually going to do. And that reminds me, you should be able, if you tell your advisor that they're placeholders, to cram yourself into courses that appear to conflict. If you can't, let me know, we'll work something out. But those times are placeholders for what we will really end up doing. I'm not quite sure why our course generating people gave us actual times instead of just TBD. But they did. That's what they did this year. So you want to take over? Yeah, I think your team meetings, you can actually, it's so simple you don't need Doodle. You can just do it. Dude, we got, most people are here. I mean, this is darn close to 33. Oh.
okay, I just want you to all know that the student meetings, the weekly student meetings, is if not the most important thing we can have for this project. That is those meetings are mostly all of the students will be there, Dr. Frank, It's going to always be there, even if he doesn't want to. There'll be times where he's forced to stay. But it will consist of all you meeting together, saying, what have you done last week? What have you done this week? And what will you do next week? We'll be signed in. We'll be taking roll of how many people will be there, how many came, how many said they're going to come and didn't come. This will all, and if you do not show up enough, it will count against you. We need to know where the rest of the team is at in order for the whole thing. So this is a very important meeting. It's not a meeting like this where we're just talking about it and no. This is going to be actual interactions. We're going to be deciding on main things about the general payloads. We're going to be talking about specifics of each person's project, and they have to know what they're saying as well, and it'll all be recorded. Okay. Sorry. You have a question? Oh, okay. So last time when we had these meetings, there were two options. There was either Saturday mornings or around noon, around 1 p.m. we had those meetings on Saturdays, and then there'll be times where we had meetings on Friday at 6 p.m. We found out that the Friday at 6 for us, 6 p.m. on Fridays works best. Most of the classes are over. The students are on campus, and if they have no classes, they can stay campus as well. But the Saturday did not have a good turnout. Now this is a different team, different group, different schedules. But if we can choose one right now, it would be the best. So I want to see around Friday, 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 11 a.m., 12 p.m. for Saturdays. And I want to see if we can decide on one of those times.
I was going to say, now you're seeing something that we told you about. It's really, Dr. Coleman and I are mentors, and we will give startup lectures on payload construction, on science topics to get you started on figuring out what you might want to do. But at the end of the day, this is a student-led project. I will say we overdid that last year. I basically said, here's the lab, here's the money, go. And sat in my office waiting for questions. And some of the students did not have enough of a starting place to ask for. It took them 6 months to figure out where they needed to go to ask for. I am going to try and find a better balance. I really do not want this class to be an exercise in direct instruction. Here, solve this. I want you guys, and my fantasy is that because my engineering knowledge predates this puppy by 50 years, you guys have skills. You're currently being taught how to build this thing in your engineering classes. So you guys have skills I don't even dream of, that you can teach me. Now that didn't happen much last time, but I can still dream. And that is my dream, that one of you will teach me how to build one of these. This is the first generation of hardware that I use that I don't know how to build myself. You know, you see, I've built them. Okay? I never actually laid out a chip. I know how. This is beyond me. And it's mostly beyond me because of miniaturization. So I'm looking forward to learning things from you guys. I kind of overdid that. But I still want to be in that mode where you guys use my, well, you really want to have a schedule kind of mentorship as a way of a framework for learning. But a lot of the learning has to come from you. And we will work on, you know, shopping isn't learning is kind of one of the lessons we will talk about. He's actually in charge here. So he doesn't believe it. Actually, he's conditioned not to believe it by his predecessor. He's still in the room in spirit, and What was terrifying? She probably doesn't know what we thought I was terrifying, but
I don't know.
many of you have heard this gambling. That's terrifying. Okay.
Uh,
How long are these?
so usually we're aiming for 1 hour. It's not guaranteed. There's a 0% guarantee that's gonna.
Possible to come back Friday? Weekend?
It depends on what you schedule. As long as it's in a, we like to have it as a evening Friday at most, because that's when most of the classes are done, and it's a Friday, so most people don't even have class. It might require people to drive up to the school if they're at home or at work, but it is mandatory. These meetings are the most crucial thing for this project.
So, Friday. So,
Evening, unless if there's a big show of hands for Saturday morning, or 11 p.m. to noon, or noon to 1 p.m.
You say that, Myra, I really do realize you're asking me to do something. He wants a show of
Show of
hands
hands, yeah.
for either 11 or noon on Saturday.
Projects and weekends? Yeah.
yeah, Friday one too, or?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to choose between Friday evening, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., or 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., or Saturday from 11 p.m. to 11 p.m. to 12, or 12 to 1. So depending on the show of hands, we can choose that immediately because most students are here. I did not see everybody when I walked in. So for Friday evening, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, you can stop.
Okay. But I'll say this: those meetings, most of the time they did last an hour. The problem is that once you get near completion or near completion to go to Alaska, let's say in that 5-6 month period, we will be there for 3 to 4 hours sometimes. And if there might be some residue meetings right afterwards. We can be there until night. So it's all going to come down to what the meeting is about and and during what time of the day you schedule. So right now I can't say how long it'll be, but for formality wise, 1 hour. Anything else?
Okay, where do you want them to send? Me or to you?
Can we use old USIP email or make new one? Make a new one. So we can keep everything
What's the
like
USIP email?
the one that we've been using.
Uh,
But I think the drive is full, so I think I can make a new one. USIP 2.
Okay, that is totally up to you, but we're gonna ask all of you to send, headshot.
We can take it in the lab if you want.
To an address he will give you, it'll either be usip@gmail.com or the usip2@gmail.com. You're saying it's full?
The drive, yeah. We finished the 15 gig on it. Hmm?
Megan, the PLF file is kind of large. I mean, we flew 4 days of flight imagine 4 days of MPEG.
I remember we having things.
Yeah, no, actually, I know how to do that. You just have to process them in chunks and tell them. Read in 20 seconds. The Yeah. 4 days of MP3 files is a lot of files. Okay. See, my iPod is 2 gigabytes, and that's about 22 hours of music. Imagine you have 4 times that much. The Google Drive is definitely full. Probably, but Arian, the thing is, that stuff That should all get to the hard drive that Megan bought. And you shouldn't keep it on the Google Drive.
Okay.
That's why I had her buy a hard drive.
That is, you know, it's a little bit,
Hmm?
other people are just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So you will be getting emails about doodle polls for times for classes and doodle polls for when you are going to be in the lab. And really, it's more than I'm allowed to ask, but there will come a time in mid-semester when it's probably better for the faculty to shut up and let you work. Maybe not until next fall, but eventually we'll be giving far fewer lectures, and you will be doing far more lab work. So I identify 9 hours in the lab, in addition to the 3 hours of, and guess what? There's a benefit here. Next, I'm not going to do it until January, but we'll actually get all of you on the card swipes. These are card swipe forms. What do these guys use those rooms for? Hmm? Officing. They now have a place to hang out. On the other hand, the good news for a lot of these guys, teaching's my day job. I'm a little iffy when you ask me questions about Italian Renaissance painting, but I won't refuse to try. But he's been asking me questions all semester on his circuit course. So yeah, there's some bennies that come with this project. Much deeper connection with the faculty and a place to. And yes, we do wear red on Fridays. Any other questions? Bob, you want to say anything?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Over the break right now, let's say do some kind of learning. What would you advise something with?
Read the proposal,
Yeah, other than that.
pick out some piece of science that's interesting, and start diving deeper.
Okay. Anything specific for a program that you work with a lot or circuit?
Well, Arduino coding, actually, that's a little unfair because it's a new game, new project. You guys might decide you don't want to use the Arduino, you want to use the Raspberry Pi. That's an open decision. You guys get to make it. So,
You guys are together for the next 2 years, so you guys will have to start talking to each other
yeah,
eventually.
the evil cackle isn't really quite appreciated, but yes. Louder.
Because you get a lecture, but take them fundamental skills you have as any general process, water, working.
We'll have like
Indeed they will be. And actually, I'm not going to be teaching the circuit design because we've got 3 double E faculty who are going to do that. The 6 of us need to sit down and decide who's going to say what when. But we certainly will tackle that. The problem I face is that in terms of how to actually build a spacecraft, I'm kind of the irreplaceable resource. So I'm going to be busy. But I'm going to try and use this as an excuse to persuade my department to basically augment the realization of how few people on this campus actually have ever built spacecraft That's not an great revelation for me, but this is Space Cities University. You'd think more of us would have built spacecraft than have. Um, there are only 3 of us. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Okay. I know that 1 hour to the time, right? We're gonna get.
It's gonna be a 3-hour, it's gonna be a regular 3 hours a week, with direct instruction, professors worshiping chalk.
Then the lab, that week, gonna go in the lab work.
Right. The labs are gonna be far less supervised. You're gonna be self-driven there.
Last week, the last part. Then we're working, to work at home.
Okay, that's a very good question. What is, and the pro team can say this together, what is my policy about taking hardware home?
Don't.
So, you can do book learning at home, you can read at home, you can shop at home, but the hardware stays there. Yes.
What if we can work on it on another lab? Like, I mean, I have access. What if we work there?
Okay, the issue is you're the team. You needs access, all your team needs access to the hardware at all times. And that's something we should probably talk about, notebooks. I guess I'll spend a little bit more time talking about notebook costs. That's not fair.
He needs the papers. The papers that we wrote for you.
Okay. Your pro team will make you will give you access to the Google Drive. It's all there. And that, if something you need isn't there, your pro team will be able to tell you which of the previous 12 people you can go flip upside the head with what you need. It should all be there. You
Yeah. My question is about the accessibility of the lab, to be able to go in there late night.
yes. Once I give you the card, once you're on the card swipe, as long as I think your card swipe works on the front door too, doesn't it? Hmm? Oh,
For this building, if you do not have access for some reason and you're coming here at 3 a.m., if you want an open door, the door on the other side, which is near SR2, is always open. It's always left open. So if you ever have trouble getting in, on holidays or anything,
yeah, Chris makes a good point. We can't give you the outside door swipe because you're not an employee. If you are an employee someplace else on campus, like if you work at the bookstore for as part of your financial aid package, then we can give you outside. But otherwise, the trick, of course, is continuous occupancy and the use of the telephone. The, the rooms themselves, you'll have full access at all times. At 532, the janitors are not permitted access because it's ITAR controlled space. If any of you want citizens, the 528, they are supposed to have access, but for reasons that I don't understand, their key doesn't work. So 528, you will find yourselves periodically engaged in what's called parental emulation, cleaning up. Um, the young woman in year 1 in Project 1 got very good at pointing out to the guys he was mentioned. And when we get in the field, I authorized them to point out to the guys a quotation from my daughter. Dishwashing. No, I said it's a quote from my sister. Dishwashing. Dishwashing is made for. So guys, expect to be, expect a little inversion here. You're going to be expecting to do the household and do the housework and keep things clean. The girls do the science. Okay? You ladies okay with that? I want to, okay, I'm 70, or I will be in January. I want to be as inclusive and as welcoming as possible to all of you, regardless of origin, ethnicity, cultural background, or whatever. Intrinsic weirdness. We're particularly welcoming the intrinsic weirdness. But I'm 70. I'm going to make mistakes because I was so different when I was your age, and that's when I learned a lot of my behavior. So if I inadvertently give offense, it's inadvertent. It's inadvertent. The learning curve for me that I'm going to have to work on, and it's a process. So just be aware of that. I value all of you. Let's see, my professors use scorn ruthlessly as a teaching tool. I gather that's no longer done, but the habits die hard. I will try the best I can to grow. And I think I speak for the rest of the faculty when I say this. We will make mistakes in being as welcoming as we need to. Partly because we get stressed, and partly because we get tired, and partly because, I like to say, the one thing that drives me up the wall is if I baffle you in answering a question, and you realize that 10 minutes after you left my room, I don't want to not hear about it in weeks. That is the one thing that drives me bananas. Did you say that's a fair statement? Yeah. And it's easy to avoid. Oh, I'm baffled. Let me go back and talk to you. I'm okay with that. It's waiting 3 weeks that you drive me crazy. I'm used to baffling people. I baffle myself. You're not supposed to agree with that. Okay. Well, I'm going to be good. We'll hold it to an hour. You can kill the hangout. Leave the computer running. I've got to take it to my next class. I need to talk to one person back there. Thank you for coming, and I'm looking forward very much to the next 2 years. In 2 years from now, you're going to be my sergeant children.
But when you sent that email, I was like, is everyone coming? I guess so. Thank you. Not everyone's coming. Well, yeah, mostly just everybody. I mean, only like 6 people.
Everyone.
Oh, no.
I've got a couple questions for you guys.
Sure.
First, I forgot what